clear. Coming through Geocache Talk, a voice on the line I hear. Coming through Geocache Talk.
Embark on a breathtaking 12-night journey through Scandinavia with the Worldwide Cache Cruise, starting from the enchanting city of Amsterdam. With the Worldwide Cache Cruise, we are not just taking a vacation. We are geocaching and collecting experiences that will last a lifetime.
A stunning symbol of adventure, community, and storytelling. Its bold design shines with vibrant colors and a cool retro look. It's more than just a coin. It's a badge of geocaching passion. You can be part of the journey by supporting Geocache Talk on Patreon. Your patronage helps create inspiring shows, grow the community, and keep the adventure going. Join the network at patreon.com/geocachetalk.
Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Calling all geocachers. At artedcrafted.com, we create unique apparel designed by geocachers for geocachers. From custom t-shirts to personalized mugs, our gear lets you express your passion. Stand out at your next event with artedcrafted.com. artedcrafted.com. Gear up for your next geocaching adventure.
Big thanks to our new patrons, LabGal13, Joe Bids, Reese 486, Haida 25, Waymaker Jan, Rob S72, Lost and Found 28. I think I saw she was in the chat room. And a returning patron, the Geocaching Ninja. If you need somebody to get up a tree in about 3 seconds, he's your man.
He's got it.
And our featured patrons tonight, as I go down from A through Z, we got to the Arkansas people, and you know who they are. No, I'm kidding. I'll mention them. Dawn, Judy, Christy, Christopher, Karen, Randall, and Kendall. Thanks to all our patrons for keeping this show and all our shows on the air. Very exciting to have y'all. So I'm wearing Jesse. Jesse's with me tonight.
Yeah, you let me in or not? We'll see.
I was trying to fix my camera at the same time, multitasking. No Pizza Ninja tonight. He's banned. I don't know. We might let him in again someday. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe one day. Yeah.
We're going back to the old school. The old school 2-man booth, me and Jesse.
We can handle it.
So I'm wearing, in honor of Cache Fest in Hawaii, I'm wearing Cache Fest Oklahoma, because that's the shirt I have for Cache Fest that I grabbed.
I know, that's this weekend. That's crazy, isn't it?
I know. Can you imagine? It was pretty much a year ago, Jesse. You and I were in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm glad they were able to pull it off. So, I mean, okay. They're going to pull it off this weekend. Let's put it that way. I don't want to say have yet, but I mean, that's a mega in Hawaii. That's pretty awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's the furthest west U.S. Mega ever. And it's the furthest south. It fits both south and west. So
I guess it can't be beat on the south, really.
No,
it could be beat on the west.
I don't know.
Alaska.
No, there's nothing for. Well, you could have it on another island. Is that what you're talking about?
You could do Alaska. Alaska's further west than.
Oh, is it? I guess
Yeah.
it is. I'm usually pretty
Now
good.
this will stir it up
maps.
too, but it's technically also the furthest north and furthest east, depending on how you look at the line that it crosses to go from west to east. But
yeah,
that's a big controversy. We don't have to get into that, but
yeah,
technically it could be all those. Who knows? Maybe they'll do Geocache Alaska in the future.
They might.
Not next year, because they announced where next year is.
No, they did. So next year it'll be in, drumroll, Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Tampa, Florida.
No, you don't. No,
I know it's in Savannah, but that's not that far from me. I can drive to that one.
That's not bad. Savannah's a great town. So if everyone is listening to the show, thank you again for listening. We love our audio listeners as well as our viewers. If you've never been to Savannah, Georgia, you're like, you want to change that to yes, I want to go.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
beautiful city. It
Yeah,
is
Savannah's nice.
gorgeous. And then, take a short trip out to the islands. You're right there next to the water. I mean, it's just all of it's good. It's
Yeah,
all
it's a
good
beautiful
there.
area.
Yeah. Yeah, the Savannah bananas. Yeah. Um, the Savannah bananas. They
That
travel a
is
lot though. They
fun.
don't. Yeah, they were like up in Boston recently. That's the one. Thank you. See, Brian knows me well. He knew I was thinking of Tybee Island. So thank you, Cable
On the other
House.
side, if you ever get a chance to go see Savannah Bananas, go see it.
Oh gosh, yes.
It
It's
is
hard
so
to get
much fun.
tickets.
Do what?
I tried to get tickets. You got to get on a waiting list.
Yeah, it is. We tried for years and we finally got them, and it was a blast. It was the
Yes.
most fun I've ever had at a baseball game.
Oh yeah,
If you
that's
consider it actual baseball, but I mean it's more of entertainment, right?
it is. But they have rules, but they have their rules. So
Yeah, it's like wrestling as opposed to UFC, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're comparing things, like it's like that to baseball, but it's fun and they're all talented athletes and it's hilarious. So go if you can. That's our maybe we'll
Yeah.
get sponsored by Geocache Talk, sponsored by Savannah Bananas. That'll be
Right.
next week.
That'd be great. Yeah, banana ball, absolutely. All right, good stuff. So again, shout out to now. I know you're not going to say this because you're a pretty humble dude, but you know that this all is occurring because of you.
This what?
Cache Fest Hawaii.
Oh, no. First of all,
Now, hang on.
coming up with an idea and executing something are two different things.
No, yeah, I know.
There is negative 100% chance that I could ever pull off a mega.
No, I know. You and I are out of the business, but we were talking one day and you're like, "Hey, let's do it in Hawaii." It's like, "Oh, good. Let's do that." And
I have a habit of coming up with impossible ideas and then somehow this team, we find you're good at finding the right people and then we make it happen. So,
hey, let's do a cruise together somewhere. Okay,
well,
sounds good.
That came out of a Jasmer conversation, which we'll talk about more tonight, but that
Yeah,
came
we
out of a
will.
Jasmer conversation like, man, it'd be cool if we went together.
Yeah,
Hey,
we all went. Yeah, Quad Jasmer. You have to go to Sweden. Hey,
Yeah.
let's go to Sweden.
What if we took 100 of our best friends with us?
What the heck? Exactly.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Okay.
So it's a fairly light news night. We're going to be jumping right into the show here in a second. I think, though, I do have a video for the first one. Here it goes.
Let's get a good shot of this.
Yeah, this ought to be good.
Gary is going to fix something he said before.
So I am going to fix something I said before.
It was a little dramatic.
And yes, we have a whole video for that now because I do that quite often. I don't know why, but Natalia, who is the Cache Odyssey hider in Hawaii, and I knew this, and I don't know why I said it, but I said she was 5. That cute little girl is 2 years old. What was I thinking?
I'm sure she was totally offended too.
She is. She was like, she sent me an email. She's like, Gary, what's going on? You know, I'm only 2. I'm not 5. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, sorry. I apologized.
How awesome. So here's what's cool about that. Obviously at 2, parents have to do stuff, right?
But she carried it. I showed you the photo, right?
No, I'm not taking anything away from her. What I'm saying is your memories don't form tons, right? You remember some things, but you don't remember everything. You remember experiences general. But let's say, for instance, that she stays in geocaching for the next 10 to 16 years. She becomes an adult.
Yeah.
And she looks back like she was in part of a huge thing, which who knows where Cache Odyssey will be in 16 years from now.
Right.
But she was involved with it from the very beginning, the first year. That is so cool. Like, I really hope she stays as a geocacher and, is able to look back and go, man, my parents got me in on this when I was a little bitty. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, not a leap year baby. She's about to be 3. Well, No,
Look, don't mess up her age
2020.
again. She's 2. Just leave it at that.
She's 2. But yeah. So Sharknado, I call him Sharknado. It's Fernandino, because he's Fernando. So it's Fernando. It's hard to do. I guess I call him Sharknado. Anyway, and Lacey. And that cache has finally, obviously, now with Cache Fest Hawaii about to happen, bunch of people found it. Everybody's thrilled. Everybody's posting pictures, and I'm so glad that worked out. That Cache Fest Hawaii is up, and people are thrilled, and it all worked out. So
the key is we just have to have a mega in every state near, not just us, but somebody has to have a mega in every state near the Cache Odyssey caches to really bring them all up to the top.
Right. Cool. And then my other quick note was that I talked before about this, but I want to give you a quick update on Geo Tour coins. We are in the process of completing a Geo Tour coin, and when I mean completing, I mean with the publisher of the coin. They have to get back to us on some of the schematics. Again, we kind of needed to make a quick change. We sent it to them, and they are going to get back to us next week. At that point, we can then announce that the coins have been submitted and they're purchased, and they're going to be in our hands in a month or whatever it takes. Takes about 6 weeks. So those coins will be available to anyone that wants to buy one. So they're not going to be free. We don't have Elon Musk money. Sorry. If you complete a geotour, any of the 6, or if you do multiple geotours, then we would obviously encourage you to get one as a token of your completion. Now, having said that, also other quick thing is that Pizza Ninja is working on a certificate that will be specific. So if you finish 4 geotours, then we will send you 4 certificates. You can print them all out, make you a little montage on the wall.
Just something for fun.
Yeah.
So here, I think this counts as news.
Yes. Wow. It was her 50,000. Well, that's some planning right there.
And her 50th Cache Odyssey.
Her 50th, yes. Yeah, she completed.
She has 50 now.
Yeah, she's got all 50.
That is insane.
Yeah. And she gets a pizza party.
Has she been awarded that other secret thing yet?
She should have gotten it. We'll have to ask her.
We'll have to find out directly with her.
Yeah. We'll definitely
That's hugely impressive. We got to talk to her in person, obviously, but that is a hugely impressive accomplishment.
Yes. No, absolutely. To complete all 50 is incredible. I mean, there's people that are at 30, but she blew by them. I mean, she really just
any amount of them, more than 1 or 2 is impressive.
Yeah.
That means you've been to multiple states, right? Where a lot of people will never do that. So,
oh, yeah. I mean, she did all 50 this year because Cache Odyssey came out December 29th.
This year.
Yeah. Most people didn't find one.
Like half a year.
Yeah.
I did not cache quite that hard. Well, I don't want to jump to caching yet. Did you mention, or we haven't mentioned, the International Geocaching Days coming up?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We got time for that. I'm sure everybody knows about it by now, but it's next month. It's August, right?
Yes.
I think it's August. So that's on the blog. That's everywhere else. Keep an eye out for that if you're interested in getting that souvenir. I think you have 2 or 3 days to get it during that International Geocaching Day is like 3 days, I think. But
yeah, they usually, it's pretty much always been like, I mean, that's kind of the way. I mean, definitely.
How was your, is that the done with the news?
That's it. Let's get into this.
How was your caching this week?
Light. I basically did cache maintenance this week. So I fixed a couple, and I actually archived a couple because and I went and checked. It was a good cacher. I went and checked, make sure there's no debris.
Good for you.
But they were very gone, and it was like, do I want to replace it? A lot of times I'll replace them. I mean, I like the spot. I want to keep it. But a couple of them were like, one of them I really liked was sort of you've probably seen these where you take some duct tape, make a little wallet,
Yeah, flat
make
pack,
a little Slim
flip
Jim
bottom.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that one was gone. But I did go by, and I'll let you tell about yours here in a second. But I did go by the Cotton Museum, the Audie Murphy Museum.
Yeah.
It's sort of Audie Murphy / Cotton. It's mostly Audie Murphy, but
Mm-hmm.
it's called people just call it the Cotton Museum. But it's more about Audie Murphy, I think, more than anything. But anyway, I was out of swag in Cache Odyssey, Texas, so I went by there, threw some swag in there, and I did notice that there's a couple retired guy coins in there.
Oh wow!
I think people need to kind of come visit, come tell me, come see me. Get you a while supplies last. Like there's 2 of them in there right now.
Yeah, all those will be gone. First person that gets there.
Yeah, first person gets there. Hopefully, we'll only take one, but.
Come on.
So I replaced the swag. I talked to Susan, the curator at the museum, and she's like, "Hey, can I get you to? Would you come and do a talk for us? Because they have like a weekly lunch type thing for people in the area at the museum." And I said, "Sure." So I'm on the schedule to talk geocaching at the Cotton Museum. So looking forward to that.
Very cool.
Yeah. So tell us about yours.
So last week, obviously, I was really in bed from surgery. Didn't really get anything. So I was happy to just get back out this week and get caching, which just like when I did my hips and had all those other surgeries that I've had in the past.
Yes.
I've always used caching to kind of get back out in phases, right? Well, this week we got back out and I only found one traditional and I did one virtual. And then we got like 33-ish labs or whatever. So we did mainly virtual stuff. So I wasn't climbing any trees or really hiking very far.
You better
jumping
not.
Up and down stuff. I was trying to just do the easiest things we could find. And we kind of got on a roll today and did a bunch of labs downtown Tampa.
Cool.
In like Ybor City, which is a historic area near here. And we really have, well, we'll get it later, but we had a blast doing it. Like it wasn't anything like amazing or exciting, like physically demanding, but it got me out and caching again. So that was fun. You know, you just want to like get a couple smileys and feel like you're still part of the game. And
absolutely.
It was good. I still need to be careful for the next few weeks or whatever, but like physically careful.
Surgery.
Like I can do stuff now. I can drive and move around stuff. I'm not supposed to pick anything heavy up, which is hard to. It's hard to not reach down and pick something up, right? Because you're used to it.
Well, and you like to work out, so
yeah. So that gives me extra caching time over the next month because I can't do any of that right now. So
yeah, and that's tough. Trust me, I've gotten in a new habit of walking every day. Not at the house. I mean, I go to a park and I walk it, and it gets to be a habit. And when you don't get to do
100%, yeah.
I mean, you've talked about before how. For a lot of people that go to the gym, I think the stereotype is you go there because you want to show off and, look at me. Yeah. But really, I think 99% of the people that go to the gym, it's therapy for them. I mean, that's that's what you've told me before.
We've talked about just like geocaching could be, working out can be therapy too. Whatever your version of working out is right now. Now, luckily I am still able to walk. So I've been walking every day. Or not every day, but I've been trying to walk, pretty decently and not push myself too hard and stuff like that. But it's funny how things become habit, much like geocaching or anything else. Things become habit, and then all of a sudden, when you're not doing something, you're like, "Wait, this doesn't seem."
Yeah, you're sort of out of
here. Like my day is weird. It doesn't. I don't want to relate it to a streak because streaks, but yeah.
But
anyway,
But you
this
get
week I got to get out and get caching. Got about 35 caches.
That's awesome.
Nothing spectacular. I got maybe one more treasure this week.
Did you get the napkin
I'll do a little more stuff next week too.
Did you get the napkin or the ketchup packet? Which one?
Yeah. I got the ramen this week.
The ramen. Wait, I gotta see if I got a ramen. Hang on.
Hey, look, I like them treasures, and as soon as I can get to where I can do something that's a little more strenuous, I am I'm gonna get all my treasures maxed out. So
Okay, good for you.
I currently do not have them maxed out, and usually with these things, we're maxed out pretty quick just by normal style of caching.
Yeah.
So it's been different for sure.
It was funny that I had a few more than you guys. It's like, you hate these things. You got more than I did. So, but I just went to
caching, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I went to Gigastock and we did a bunch. So
well, that helps.
Yeah. All right. So this topic Jesse reminded me of was something we've kind of talked about before. So, but it's good to revisit the topic. I mean, we're not doing, a
repeat show. Yeah.
Bus geocaching 6 or something. I mean, we're not doing that.
But I think by the very topic of it, it bears repeating.
It does. The topic does. And we're taking a little bit different angle on it. But the thing that I put in the notes as far as the for the title, the description, join us on this episode of Geocache Talk Network as we explore the next level of the game, from creative challenges to international caching adventures. We'll help you discover all the ways to reignite your passion for geocaching. So we have a list. We're not going to go through every one of them, but it's in the show notes. So again, you can always go to the show notes after the show, and they're there, geocachetalk.com, and then /show-notes. You can go check it out. But we are going to cover some, and we're going to talk about our own experiences, because I know I want you to talk. Specifically, I want you to talk about, we had this conversation, you and I did. Gosh, it's been 8 years, probably long, maybe about 8 years, 7 years ago. I remember when you started to get into challenges, and we're going to talk about, again, specifics things, but I found your conversation with that fascinating, because it at the time, I don't think I'd really thought about, what if I get bored, or not bored, but like if I want to change it up. And I guess at the time I wasn't there yet, but then not too long after that, I got there. So tell people a little bit about your experience with hitting a flat line, I guess, with geocaching.
Well, kind of like we've talked about before, and you've been in the game even longer than me. But I had a couple of young daughters in the beginning. And we've done a lot in geocaching, just not because we're any more prolific, and we've found less than a lot of people that have been in the game as long as us, right? But just style of life, kind of the travel stuff that we've done over the years, we've been lucky enough to have a diverse enough way of playing the game that we've hit a lot of the major milestones. All the standard challenges that we've kind of got on our list, because I was going through this earlier tonight, we've done those. And those were all like our current obsession with the game. All the Fizzy, Jasmer, 365 streaks, year-long streaks, all those things. We had a phase of each of them where we did those. And I've talked about it before, and I don't want to like hammer the same point, but like where it goes, y'all heard me talk a lot about that over the years. Well, that was because it was a hard thing to do, and that's what we got into. And then we kind of burn out on those. We did earth caches, kind of burn out on those. Challenges were probably our biggest one that has stuck around the longest amount of time.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of challenges.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say too, I remember you helping Hallie up a tree to finish your Fizzy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We had to drive to Oklahoma from Colorado to get that one.
Right. And then you and I finding your first Jasmer.
Finished the first Jasmer down in Texas.
Out in the middle of the of that cache, and we're like, huh. And then Christy's like, did you read the description of the cache? Oh, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. We did that one live. I don't even remember what that service was. We did that one live on the air. That was
Periscope.
Yeah, Periscope. That's Periscope. What it was. But yeah, I think challenges are what stuck the most with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I won't say that, and I'll say that like how we view challenges now is, I would say everything that we do is challenge based, but we're not going out seeking out challenges all the time. We've kind of adopted our own version of challenges for our family, because there's a challenge for almost everything nowadays, right? So any major accomplishment, there's probably a challenge for it. If it's too major that you can't make a challenge for it, it's just a personal challenge.
Yeah.
So for us, challenges will never go away. I mean, it was interesting enough that I took the time that we, put a book together to get other people excited about it, right? In the past.
Well, sure.
But I think it's that. And I mean, we have a whole show about it and everything else, right? Challenges are a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't think that'll ever go away, but I think challenges
No.
now as a way of caching has broken down into what we're interested in now, right? Like you find something and that becomes your new obsession with the game.
Yeah. It's not always,
yeah.
there are, and this is the thing we want to talk about tonight was the fact that some of the things we're going to talk about are challenges because they just sort of lend themselves to being a challenge. But for some people, even if you're not into, let's say you're not even going to find, let's say that you look at your calendar and you're like, oh, we're pretty close. We're only like 35, 38 days away from finishing 365. Well, yes, you can go find a cache, a challenge cache that you could sign with that, but you don't have to go sign. I mean, you should or can if you find it all. But so the things we're going to talk about tonight tend to be things that you can find a challenge cache on.
Yeah.
Potentially, but you don't have
to find challenge cache on most things. If you look, especially if you look pre-moratorium, there was some crazy crap out there, right?
Gosh.
But, and you know, I guess too, like things that have come in past, like milestones.
Yep.
Like when you get your your first 100, that's a milestone. That's huge. Sure. That's probably your biggest milestone ever, in my opinion, because it seems so impossible when you first are going to 100.
Right.
At least it did for me way back in the day. I thought, man, 100, that's tons.
Yeah.
And then you start getting into it more. Well, you hit 1,000, it seems like with more ease than you hit 100 because it's become part of the game at that point, right?
Sure.
It's part of your just routine. And then 5,000, 10,000, stuff like that. You hit those. But for me, and we've always kind of said, like, after 10,000, like once we hit that, numbers aren't really a milestone for us anymore.
Right.
Because the next big one, in my opinion, you could say 25 was, but the next big one where you're added digit is 100,000. No, we're not.
Yeah.
We don't cache the style that we'll probably ever get 100,000.
Right.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but that just doesn't have any allure for us currently. Now it may one day, but currently it does not.
When you get close, you'll notice it and want to do it. But I agree. I mean, really, in my opinion, whether you find 5,000 or find, 500, I don't know if that really jazzes. It might it does for some people. For me, I don't.
Some people are big into numbers, I think.
No,
they're big into it.
No, but like when I was reaching up for 3,000, I definitely paid attention. I went and found a bunch of, power trail junk just to kind of get my number up to 299. And then I got to 299.
Yeah.
Flew to Seattle, drove down to, Portland area and did the original stash as my 3,000th.
No. And I guess I should rephrase it then. So like, we're not shooting for any number like 15,000, 20,000, whatever like that. That's not our goal. But we do try to recognize every 1,000th cache that we find. So like when we hit 15,000 and 16,000, we still try to make that 1,000th one something good, right? Like, we try to notice that. But we're not shooting for like, oh my gosh, now we got to get to 20,000 or 25,000. That's not really our current.
Correct.
Some people are into that. That's awesome, right? Like I've said before, I've cached with two of the top geocachers in the world. They are numbers people. They know anytime you ask them, they know exactly how many they've found up to that cache.
They do,
that's their game, right? That's what they do.
But for Mondu, he's it's a combination for him, right? Because you know him, he still loves just finding caches, but he also is looking at his number. So it's a combo.
Oh no, absolutely. Him and Alamogul, I've cached with both of them.
Yeah.
And they are hard, and I didn't want to hear it. People are like, oh, they cheat and blah, blah. I don't care about all that. I've cached with both of them personally, and they can cache circles around me.
Oh,
and they love pushing through the numbers. They love just clearing an area out, and they love that. Now, they don't choose to hike 8 hours to the top of a mountain because that's not their style of caching. That's more my style of caching, but they move through an area and they clear them out. Now, Alamogul and Mondo both, they travel the world too. So they've done it a lot of places. So it's not like they're just staying in one place and doing power trails, but they're like power cachers to the extreme.
Oh, yeah.
And their goal is that. And that's what, obviously, that's what excites them, right? Like, that's what they love.
Which is hysterical too. I want to mention real quick. So, I was coming and I wasn't, again, so this shows you how much I really don't think about it now anymore. The 3,000, my 4,000th was was sort of funny because I'm like, I think I can do 4,000 while I'm at Gigastock. I just didn't pay attention. So the joke we were telling, I was with Pizza Ninja and Jody was, I blew past 4,000 when we were doing we were at the Adventure Lab pit. So right now, so the one that, and the way I told it was like, I'll never forget my 4,000th cache. It was Adventures in Appalachia number 95-B. I remember it so well.
Yeah.
I blew right past it doing all the Adventure Labs. And I was like, oh, I think I'm close to 4,000. And I looked it up. I was like, guess what? I just blew right through it. And it was okay. So it shows you how much I was paying attention.
Yeah. But, numbers have never really been your thing. I mean, where are you at now? 4,000, 5,000?
I'm at 4402.
So numbers have never been your thing. You're not like a high volume cacher.
No.
You enjoy caching. Now, you'll find some volume in a day, but you're not trying to do that day after day.
No, yeah. Well,
that really hasn't been your thing. You found other things that have kept you excited.
Yeah. No, yeah. We'll talk about those too a little bit, but yeah. Yeah, my best day was that 600, which they're like, wow, you found 600 caches in a day? I did. I didn't have to leave the car.
So not to go over a whole list, because we want to get over go through the list kind of before we get to the new stuff, but
yeah.
Which one of the things on the list that you made have kind of been your main goals over the years?
The biggest thing that I think hit was when I was getting to that point where I want to stay in, like you, I want to stay in geocaching, but I was sort of like, do I just want to find caches, just generally? It was like, no, I kind of want to do something different. Yeah. And about that time, that's when David of Team D&D, we were at Texas Challenge in Seguin.
Yeah.
And he challenged me. He said, you found all the counties, right, in Texas? He goes, haven't you? I mean, how close are you? And I go, well, I'm not very close at all. He goes, what's your deal, man? Go get them all. I mean, you're in Texas. Go get them all. Like, okay. So I accepted that. And so county caching became, a big thing for me to do, is to get all the counties. So that's a bit, that was kind of my foray into this idea about doing something unique. I didn't care about Fizzy back then. I've finished it now, but I was like, it's still to this day, you and I probably have ones that were like, I did it. I don't really care about it. Fizzy 365. I've, finally trudged my way through that thing. I was like, I don't ever want to do that again.
And if you're talking about just filling your calendar days, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Some people are, there's people though that get jazzed about, I want to find a mystery cache for all 365 days.
Yeah. See, that's never been my thing.
Never mind. Either.
We did the 365 and the year streak at the same time.
Right.
So Makes sense. Did our, 300. Well, ended up doing like 370 something days straight. Yeah. But it was that. So that did two things, right? That did our full year streak, and it also filled in our 365 at the same time.
Right.
Because obviously, if you're doing one, it takes care of the other. Now, we worked for that one, and that was the thing we were doing quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like we hosted events. We talked about before. We that's where we gave them those weekly events so we could get done with that. That was a hard one. And now we lived in Colorado, and everybody has their geographical reasons why it's hard per times of the year. But in December or January in Colorado, it gets hard to go out every day and get a cache.
Yeah.
But
I did want to. Yeah.
LPCs
real quick.
are a challenge. So.
Yeah. So I want to say real quick. So for some folks in the chat room, some of the questions that you're asking or commenting on, We have a few now that we have put a star by, and that puts it in another group. We have 4 of them right now. So if you've commented and you're like, hey, why haven't you guys commented on my cool comment? And it's like, we're going to get to it. So hang with us. We'll get to your comments tonight. So the other one that you and I can talk about, and then we'll get into some other potential ones and I want to get your opinion on some of these as well.
Yep.
But the other one that was big that you got into, of course, first, and I came along and joined you in that, which is Jasmer.
Yes.
Jasmer didn't really, it interests me a little, but I wanted to I did some county caching. Again, I did Oklahoma. I've done Texas. I've done Hawaii, which is a weird story, but we'll keep that for another day. That's for another show. What else have I done? Oklahoma. I want to get Arkansas completed. Obviously, Louisiana and New Mexico.
You're talking about counties. Yeah.
County caching.
Yeah.
But for Jasmer, for me, it was interesting because I had a lot of 2000s just because I guess my caching sort of led me that way.
Yeah.
But I ended up taking, and I know you did, you can talk about some of yours, but I did some very specific travel.
Oh yeah.
Just to get, and most of that travel of more recent was just to get 2001. For some reason, my caching left a lot of 2001 caches off the list. And I wanted to finish at least one loop. And so last year I was able to complete one loop, got to go to Georgia, and I took my son out, and we did my last one for the first loop. But what's interesting about that though is when you start getting into it, it does get sort of exciting. You're like, oh, I need to plan. I need to strategize. There's a bunch of, so around Austin area, there's a ton of 2001s that I hadn't found. And I'm like, I'm going to make a trip. So it gets exciting. What was your experience with trying to at least kind of line up some of your 2000 and 2001s? Because those are the ones that, we can always find stuff 08, 10, et cetera.
So I got into, I say both, but I'll separate them out because Jasmer is my top goal. The quad Jasmer is my top goal. I'm down to the last 6 of them. So that's my number one goal out there right now. Now that takes some international travel, and it takes some more travel in the U.S. to do it. But we got into Jasmer because we just happened to live in the place where the first 2 people that got number 1 and then either number 3 or number 2, people that ever got the quad just happened to be in our area. So it was a big thing in our area. Now, also, I lived in Colorado at the time, and we traveled to Utah and the surrounding areas. Those happened to be kind of saturated with old caches.
Mm-hmm.
And just by happenstance of how we cache, I was excited about old caches before I was ever really into Jasmer.
Right.
And then people in my area were talking more and more about Jasmer, and we ended up getting into it then. We finished our first Jasmer. And then by the time we finished our first Jasmer, I was interested in doing all 4.
Sure.
So we started picking up. We started not just going for the second one. We started going for the 4 immediately. Like, not that you would, but like if I get an area and there's 2000, and let's say that I've got that same month of 2001, a couple of those, I'm going to look if I need it for the 3rd or 4th time.
That's very smart. For those people that are doing Jasmer, trust me, I know this very, very well because I have retraced some of my steps when I didn't really need to if I'd have planned accordingly.
Yeah.
Right? You should.
And that's stacking priorities, right? We've talked about that before. That's you're overlaying what you're doing. And I would say Jasmer is everybody's choice, right? But I would say Jasmer comes you should always get an old cache, whether you're doing Jasmer or not, just because they're cool. But I think we're thinking like, so in the beginning, your first couple goals should be like, find a cache of every type.
Yeah.
Later in your life, hide a cache of every type. Do your month streak, maybe your year streak or whatever later on.
Yeah.
find some basic challenges, get to 100, get to 1,000. Fizzy, your basic, I don't want to say basic because they're hard to do, right? But
Sure.
your basic challenges that you can probably do in your area. If you're doing Jasmer, you have to be committed to traveling a bunch. So that's not something that you're going to finish unless you're Poan, you're probably not going to finish that in 6 months, right? Like you're not going to go to every state in 6 months. But and not just Poan, there's other people that are killing it too. So I don't want to, but
just an example.
I think you have to understand, because we have people from all walks of life. There's some people in here that are talking about their goals that are insane, and we'll talk about all those too. But
we'll get to them in a minute.
So from nude all the way to kind of old, you kind of need to layer it. Like, this is what I'm getting into now, but when you burn yourself out, or I'm totally enamored by gadget caches. That's all I care about right now.
Right.
Cool. But have an idea of what you might want to do next, or kind of be thinking or looking at stuff, because unless you're just insane, you're probably going to get burnt out on whatever you're doing eventually. And that's where the danger comes in as far as the longevity of your caching career is. You've got to know that just because you burn out one segment, there's so many other things to do.
Right.
Right. Like Jasmer right now. I can't within a day's time get to any more Jasmers.
Right.
Just not going to be able to do it. So I could go, well, that's no fun. I can't do anything. I can't even cache right now. Because that's Jasmer's my number one goal, right? I'm down to 6 for the quad.
Yeah. But
I kind of think about it, and we'll kind of go into them too. But like you mentioned, counties.
Yep.
I don't have any counties in my state that I don't have, just like you. I have to go to a whole nother state, which is not very close, to get even one county. However, when I travel and get to a new area, I do try to pick up whatever counties I can in that area. So while Jasmine is my number one, I can't do that this week. And as a matter of fact, I won't be able to do it this month. I won't get any of those. So knowing that, counties, I may get to do some counties this month because I may have a trip planned to go up north a little bit, but it's an area I've already been. So may not get any new counties, right? So I think the kind of the thought too is, for me, you can't just have one goal. That's where I am currently. Now, when my one goal was just to get a cache every day, that was easy.
Sure.
But I think I'm at a point now where, and some of the other people probably are too, I'm at a point now where I've done so many of those other things, the standard things.
Sure.
Like the goals now are so much more global,
right,
that I have to have, I don't have like one goal that I'm not, there's not one thing that I'm obsessed with, right?
Yep.
I have to have like overlapping goals, and that's perfectly okay. That doesn't mean I'm going to get burnt out with having multiple goals. It just means that that's my current style, right? Like, it's something that's overarching. Like, if I get an opportunity, I'm going to go for it, but it's not something I can do every single day. So I have to kind of filter them down.
I agree.
And that's kind of where we're at right now, I think.
I agree. I think that's the best way to approach it is get a few items, don't have, like you said, one obsession, because you might not physically have a chance to complete that all in one trip. You need to have multiple. So, all right, I'm gonna go through a few of the start items, and then you and I are going to talk about some other possibilities that maybe you and I even haven't done.
I got a few more on my list too. So
cool. Yeah, we'll get to those.
Okay.
All right, let's start. Burnt Turtles said, "Hey gang, picked up Minnesota Odyssey this weekend. Not logged yet. Josh did a great job. He did. That's an incredible cache.
That's a perfect thing too, and it should be on the list. Obviously, for anybody here, it goes without saying. Cache Odyssey, 100% on my list. But like, again, I have to travel outside of the state to get it. Right, I'm not doing that this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cache Odyssey is 100% one of our top goals to get all of those.
Yeah.
But
definitely, that's huge on my list.
I'm not hitting all 50 states this year. Not even close. Either. Oh, there's another one we hadn't mentioned. All 50 states. That's a huge deal.
Yeah. Well, you
for
can
most people, which I have not accomplished yet. I still got one state left, and I know you have a few states left to go.
Yeah, Idaho. So, yeah, I've got a few, but yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But that's a huge one, right?
Cache Odyssey, man, that's the way to go. All right. Great to Forever. No, GRB. Great. Yeah, GR8. Great to Forever.
Great to Forever. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah.
We're almost to 1,000 finds. We are planning on finding Missouri Cache Odyssey as our 1,000th. That's great awesome. One.
Yeah. And no matter what your goals are, I think it's important, at least I do, right? Like for our family, it is. Yeah. And we try to get together for every 1,000, Yeah. We love to get those milestones with our whole family together. We can't always do it, but we try.
Yeah.
And I think even if you're a heavy cacher, maybe not like some of the power cachers.
Sure.
But for most average normal people, I think it's worth slowing down a little bit to recognize those milestones, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
If you have the opportunity, even if it's your 1,001, that's okay, right? But
yeah,
slow down every once in a while and really recognize like what you've done.
Yeah.
Not as like a brag thing, but like so you make sure you remember. There's a lot of caches you will not remember.
No.
But you want to make those milestones pretty neat, I think.
I agree. Don says travel a lot and cache with Mondu too. He does clear it out. He doesn't cheat. He is amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
He has a program that sets up that sets us in our journey. So yeah, so
Probably
that's
like
not
yours, like Cache Tour or whatever.
Yeah, I think he uses a spreadsheet, but whatever you use, whatever works for you. I mean, my suggestion is Cache Tour, and we'll need to revisit Cache Tour at some point. We do it periodically, but a lot of people don't know about Cache Tour. I don't understand why people aren't familiar with it, but cachetour.no, and it really makes a huge.
Yeah, mine is a good dude, without a doubt.
Yep. Don also said, enjoy caching every way, challenges, mysteries, pushing Mondu to his goals, pushing my other friends to their goals. Yeah.
You know what? That I think is actually, she hit on something that's really important. And I think I didn't really list that because it's harder to write that goal down, but 100%. I know you and I have done it, but trying to help newer people or somebody that needs help, like, again, for me, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like Where I Goes, Earth Caches, I've helped tons of people put those out without my name on it anywhere because it was a challenge for me. It's a challenge for them.
Sure.
I always want to try to help whether it's my friends or just somebody I've met once online, if I can help another cacher, and I've said it before, but I was extremely lucky to get in an area when I started caching that had some really great cachers that helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll always try to pay that forward and help other people anytime I can, because it's huge, right? It can be overwhelming, the stuff that's in this game, and helping somebody else. I think that's a huge goal. If your goal is only just to help new cachers, that's awesome.
Yeah. Then there was a crazy thread that you made a comment or you starred, which was Peachy 1276. Lori said, where does one skydive to a cache?
So I've told this story before, but the short version of it is I surprised Christy one year for our anniversary with skydiving, and there was a cache at the skydiving. So we went up and skydived down and, got the cache or whatever.
Yeah.
So we technically skydived to a cache.
That's incredible.
That went great, but it could have also been our last anniversary. So it worked out great, but technically we skydived down and there was a cache at the bottom at the skydiving place. So we got to kind of skydive to a cache.
Little safety protocols.
Not something you do every day.
Nope. Yeah. You want to make sure that safety is not only first, but it's second, third, fourth, fifth, etc.
In that situation, you do.
Yeah, you do. Tomorrow, she says, finished 50 states last year, working on Fizzy this year. So that's good. Good for you.
Finishing the 50 states is huge. I mean, think about it just even outside of geocaching. How many people do you know that have never been to 50 states?
Oh,
most people.
No,
I know people that have never even been out of their home state, or maybe have been one or two states close, but haven't gone past that. And finishing 50 states is a huge accomplishment. And I know we get kind of jaded because we talk to we interview people that have done crazy crap, right? All the time.
Right.
So we think, oh, that seems kind of normal. Well, it's not. We're interviewing like that 1% of people, right? That's not normal. And the fact that we're not freaking out that somebody just went to 50 states in 6 months shows that we're kind of jaded on who,
we are.
Our opinion is skewed a little bit on what we think is normal, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, we've talked to Doug, so that kind of skews everything.
Yeah, that skews everything.
But yeah, so that's a huge accomplishment. 50 states. I mean, that could be somebody's biggest accomplishment they ever do. And look at that. They went to 50 states before they finished Fizzy.
I know.
That's way different than a lot of people, right? So that's cool. That shows how the different styles are out there. I love that. I love it.
Hughes, Texas Dave says, just deploy a cache every day. That's interesting. That's a lot of caches.
That's see, now you couldn't have an actual challenge for that because it'd be against the rules.
Yeah.
But that's a personal challenge that's huge. I don't even want to think about that. That's insane.
Yeah. And then Seabeck Tribe Lori says, I've been working on filling in 366 days for events.
That is hardcore.
That's pretty wild, huh?
That is hardcore right there. I did have a challenge one time. They wouldn't let me do it for a year, obviously, because I haven't done it. But I did have a challenge one time that was fill in your calendar, not all in the same year, right? But for every day for a month.
Right.
And that was a hard one for a lot of people.
No, I hear you. All right. Well, let's switch back to show notes. Let's go through. And I want to mention, I know you got some more you want to talk about, but let me go through a few, and then we'll kind of come back to that. So the obviously ones, most common types are Fizzy, Jasmer, 365, cache types challenge, find every type of cache. I mean, we've talked about on the show,
well, right? Find everyone and hide everyone.
Well, that's the other thing. That's our challenge to everyone that's listening or watching out there, is to hide one of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's a we do that challenge all the time for folks. So that's a big one. Location based challenges we've covered one in every county, state.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Now, I've never gotten into like the county seats, but I know there's a bunch of versions of those out there, right? Like we talked about Marcellus and stuff like that are into like getting all the counties. There's a lot of those versions location based. States I get. I've never really gotten into like the capitals or any of that other stuff, unless there's a specific challenge for it.
Marcellus did that. I don't know if that was, if we have to ask him someday. I don't know if that was that just something he wanted, because he went to every county seat in Texas.
Yeah, I think that was something he wanted to do, because I can't imagine there's a challenge out there for that.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Although pre-moratorium, post-moratorium, those are sort of
there were some crazy ones for sure.
There are. I remember when you came down and we did a big run through DFW of a lot of pre-moratorium. You're like,
yeah, I love it.
Oh, I qualify for what are you qualifying for again? I found 100 caches on Tuesday and 100 caches on Thursday, or something stupid like that. Sorry, not stupid, but like, can you do that? And you're like, not anymore, but you get back then. So it's still out there.
So it's okay.
You could do it before. So location, and then like you said, location themed, capitals, city centers, counties, national parks, etc. Power trails, geotours, rail to trail. Those are interesting. I don't know how you would create, if you're interested in that. Train stations.
Well, again, these don't have to be like publishable challenges. This is personal challenges, right? Personal
challenges. Stat based, we've talked about, fines, fines by difficulty of terrain, streak challenges. Good Lord, please don't make me do another one of those. Fines on each day of the week, milestone challenges, palindrome, in case you're interested. If you maybe somebody's ears perked up, find caches on dates like 2/2/2020, 12/21/21.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Pi Day caching, Friday the 13th challenges. Those are all pretty common.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff.
This one's sort of interesting. I don't think people think about this one very often because it comes up when you do stuff like me and Jesse and other folks, where we go troll through Project GC going, ooh, Jesse, are you coming to dinner? 1 second, I'm still trolling through Project GC.
Yeah. That's never happened. What are you talking about?
I went on a rabbit trail. Well, one of them is it's labeled as compass rose, but 360 degrees. Have you looked at it lately, now that you're in Florida, and how close are you to finishing the 360?
I have no idea. I was pretty much there before, but I wasn't really chasing it. I had it just by the way I cached. I haven't even looked at it in forever now. That one doesn't excite me for some reason. It may one day, but it doesn't currently.
But hey, we're mentioning it tonight because maybe somebody will go, ooh, I like that idea, and they'll go hunt it. It's good.
I know enough now not to say that I'll never be into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I too many times stuff that I never thought I'd be into is what I'm into.
Right. Other items would be like spelling challenges, where you spell out geocache finds.
Lame.
Alphabet challenges, numeric challenges. You're pretty funny. Theme or fun. Those. Holiday caching, birthday caching, zodiac challenge. Famous people, rare types. Now this is interesting because You did this once. You did this more than I did, which was benchmarks. You were like, "Oh, I need to find was it like 50? Yeah, I got to find 50." And you
I found
found
500, but yeah.
Oh, was it 500 you needed to
Yeah.
find? Okay.
Dang, only the first
500.
100 or 200 were for challenges, and then I kind of got into it,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it, right? Like, because it doesn't matter now because they don't really
I wish
count for
they'd bring
like
it back.
for me. If it's not on geocaching.com, it doesn't count.
No,
So,
I wish they'd bring it back.
yeah, it stopped, but I loved it because I was able to find essentially a 20-year-old FTF. Like nobody had ever gone and claimed that one before.
Yeah.
And some of them were so far off.
The benchmarks?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Some were so far off, like you really had to search, or like some of them had been buried, and
oh yeah,
they were fun. I had a lot of fun finding those things. Christy and I went out, Barry and I went out. We went out just for those some days.
Yeah.
That didn't really matter much, but and there was an app at one point that was halfway decent for it.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
Yeah, I got into that for a while and found a bunch of them, and I enjoyed it. But since it's not, I was hoping geocaching was going to do more with it, and as soon as they said they're going to finish it, I got to an even number and just didn't find any more. So I wanted to stop on an even number forever.
Yeah. A couple other ones, and we'll get to some more other ones that we want to talk about. But I just wanted to present some of them.
Yeah, no.
Especially these. These are really interesting. Look, hiking series is physical effort or endurance caching. That's sort of interesting. I know. Yeah. There are people who that may really jazz them, Jesse. The idea of bike trails, water only access, climbing challenges. I mean, you can combine your love of climbing with geocaching.
Yeah. We've done everything on this list, the physical effort list for us, except for scuba, because I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But hiking, we even hosted hiking events for a while, and people loved them.
Yeah.
Like we went hiking in the mountains, and that was and we did caches and events in the mountains. They were hiking, and those were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The people that were into it were really into it.
Yeah. And there's a bunch.
Bike trails, obviously, kayaks, we've done that. Climbing. The craziest climbing thing I've done is the one that was in Tennessee. That was the one near the Mega.
Yeah,
that was the actual arborist gear or whatever.
Yeah, you got to pull yourself all the way up.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Snow caches, hiking more than 5 miles, absolutely. That's fun stuff.
And we have some more starred we'll get to in a little bit, but I want to wrap up this list, and then we're going to talk about some other things. But a couple other things that I think are worth noting. Again, we have a huge list, so we're not going to.
Yeah, we're just trying to get through some of them in case it inspires somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple other ones that I wanted to talk about were the Cache Karma, which some of these things are Project GC related.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one too I want to mention was some people want to go for the lonely cache, and they'll make a list and they'll just hunt lonely caches. They're not really a challenge. I don't think there's a challenge you could do.
Yes, there's challenges out there for that.
Is there for that? Okay.
Yeah, and
right.
Remember we I don't know who we had on the show, but there's that lonelycache.com or whatever. I don't know if it's still active. Yep. We had that guy on the show, and with cache, of course, you can set it to you can find lonely caches. You can set the date for the lonely cache, like a year or whatever. I don't do that much here in Florida, but we used to do that all the time in Colorado. Yeah, I loved that going. I went for a while where I was definitely going for lonely caches, big time.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep. Shandon, that's the tree.
Yep. Which, by the way, is archived. Sadly, I've talked to him before. Shannon's looking for another location to do that because he is arborist. He wants to do another one, but getting permission. The place.
Oh my gosh, the liability on that is insane.
Oh, yeah. The one you guys did. Some people now own that property, and that's it.
That's right. I couldn't remember. Yeah.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, no, you're exactly right, my friend. Yes, we had him on the show, so you can go back and look at that. You want to find him or find that show? Go to YouTube, put in Geocache Talk Network.
Yeah.
And you can always like and subscribe. I mean, you can push the like and subscribes down below. So I'm just saying.
There you go.
Doesn't hurt. Doesn't cost anything. So give us a like and subscribe, and you'll get to hear all this cool stuff. So, all right, where would you like to go next?
So you've got listed. I'm just going to run through them because it may spark some interest, and then we'll go into our stuff. But under the map, grid caching, you got Delorme, which
Delorme's a good one.
I'll mention again in a little bit. But regions or provinces, so that's kind of the same thing. That's the same as counties. Those are all the same type. Obviously, it's not the same challenge. We understand the difference, but it's the same type of challenge, right?
Sure.
Elevation caching, so finding them at different elevations.
That's cool.
Project GC is good about tracking that. And then there's a bunch of them that are around degrees, right? Like confluence points, or the even degrees that we've talked about before.
Right.
The meridian challenge, caching near specific longitudes. Those are all interesting. You don't hear much about it anymore, but and I never quite understood it, 100 caches in one day in 24 hours or whatever. And that stuff, because there's no real way. That's just it's all an honesty thing, but there's no real way to timestamp and stuff. So, but finds by day of the year, that kind of goes into the calendar stuff.
Yeah.
And then you kind of got travel theme caching, which is continental, airports, rest stops. A lot of people make those their goals. Obviously, much bigger goal to get to all 7 continents, right? That's a lifetime type thing for most people, if ever.
Sure.
But a good goal to have.
Yeah.
Let's see. You got extreme caching. That's a pretty good one. We'll leave that in the notes. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Social and event caching. Now, there's a lot of people and we met the guy. You and I both met the guy, I'm pretty sure, that had gone to the most megas.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked to him when we were out caching, I believe. But and I'm not going to say the name right now because I don't know that the name's right. I've met a lot of people that time. At that mega.
You talking about big guy? We met it.
No, it wasn't big guy. It was somebody else, I thought.
He's been to a lot of megas.
Yeah, but there's somebody that's been to the number 1 amount of megas in the ever.
Oh no, we did meet them. Yeah. Where were we? We did meet.
I thought it was in Memphis. It was Cache Fest.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was in Memphis.
So that's the thing for a lot of people. A lot of people are really into going to megas, right? That's their big thing.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, or that's a legitimate goal too. Now, a lot of people are like, I can't do that. I can't travel. Okay, well, that's not your goal. But it's for some people, that's their thing. They go to megas all the time, and that's a pretty cool. I'm not sure, K-Blast. I don't remember. I don't want to say it wrong. So,
I don't know.
Could be, but I'm not. I don't know.
I have a goal. Can I tell you another one of my
let's hear it.
My goals. My other goal is to try to eat as much questionable pizza with Dan as I possibly can.
Oh gosh. Questionable pizza?
Questionable pizza. No, it was actually good. Dan and I had some good pizza one night, and just wanted to shout out to my friend there, buddy.
The last one I want to mention is, before we get back to our specific ones, where we are now, is archive cache locations.
Yes.
So I like that. I got to it in Hawaii. We've talked about it a bunch of times. You can go back and hear it, which, hey, y'all, many people are going to be down in Hawaii this next weekend for the Cache Fest or whatever.
Yeah.
In many locations, people do not pick up those archive caches.
Exactly.
There's ways to get out there, and we talked about it before, and we're not going to get sidetracked, but you can go out there and find those caches and clean up the game board, so to speak. So I think that's an awesome thing to do.
Yeah. A big one for that too is I'm not as convinced as I used to be, but I'm somewhat convinced that the Project Ape cache in Georgia is in this park, and I guarantee you that people have not scoured that park. Now again, it's missing, therefore, but I don't know if people. So it's obviously, if you go to the coordinates where that, it's not going to be there. But I'm wondering if somebody took it back into the woods and just left it because they didn't want to. I mean, dragging that thing out of there might be a little more conspicuous, but I guarantee you could make a quick event and everybody could have fun and go through that. There's that one. There's the one in California that we talked about. We talked about
how much fun would that be?
Yeah. It'd be fun. Set up an event. I mean, I'm still thinking about setting up an event someday in Georgia. Be there, obviously, but let's scour it, man. Can you imagine? Think of the fun and the thrill if you drag that giant
Oh gosh,
ape
yeah.
cache. I mean, come on, it's like a find of a lifetime. I mean,
Oh, it is a find of a lifetime.
and people have found, and there's stories about people who have found, almost fully buried ammo cans. There's just a tiny bit sticking up, and they start digging away at it, and they're like, there it is. And it's like, what a thrill would it be? Again, you're sort of cleaning up the environment as well. It's sort of like doing a CETO without being a CETO. You could kind of, I mean, think of the thrill. I mean, there's people that do that. It's just a really cool idea. So,
well, I told you before a long time ago, but when my dad and I were out hunting when I was a little kid, we found an ammo box in the woods. It was partially buried.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is before geocaching. But and it had a few different things in it. It wasn't anything valuable, but there's coins and stuff in it and something like that.
Yeah.
Some little junk in it or whatever. But it's kind of funny. It was, now that I know about geocaching, it's kind of like we kind of found like a geocache back in the day.
I know. It was.
Yeah, this would have been in the 80s, right? So geocaching wasn't even thought of, but I'm sure somebody hid it out there for a reason, for something.
Yeah. Yeah. So one real quick, and then we're going to go through a couple more start, and we'll start to wrap up. But Hodag says you can eat questionable pizza with Pizza Ninja. Trust me, I ate a lot of pizza with Pizza Ninja, and trust me, he is really into pizza. And it's like, okay, can we eat something else? Because we were at Gigastock.
Taco Bell, so
that's good. That was when Oklahoma we went, right?
Probably, yeah.
But yes, I wasn't questionable. We picked a lot of good pizza, but anyway. So a couple start items still that we want to do. Dawn mentions I'm trying not to rush through goals because I want it to be about my journey, but I also push hard still for starting my challenge goals and completing them.
I think that is probably one of the most important things to take away is that set goals, and like we said before, you want to have fun and you're competitive and everything else, but if you rush through all your goals, like there's only so many classic challenges, right? And then you got to start making up your own. Like once you've done Fizzy and 365, so you have to start creating your own things. So just know that. Don't skip over those things. Yes, be aggressive, be competitive if that's your kind of thing, but also don't just rush through all of them so fast that you have nothing left to do. Because you do have to, like kind of where you and I are now, you do have to get kind of creative. Just about every single thing we listed tonight, other than scuba caching, we as a family have hit all of those. We've done all of those. We've checked all of those off. Jasmine, we've only done 3 times, but I mean, we got to get the 4th, but we've done all those basic level stuff. It's gone, right? So I think it's important to really rush if you want to, but also enjoy the moment of what you're working on right now.
Absolutely. Soccer Kicks had a good comment. What about the new things in our stats that show oldest, northernest, probably is what you meant, southernest,
north, south, east,
state, and
we haven't really talked about that, but I do want to get into that at some point. Not tonight, but I do want to get into that because that's a new thing. We haven't really touched on it yet.
No, we need to. We need to probably do a show sometime going back through some of that because while they're challenges, they're things of interest
on Project GC. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, Project GC too. If people don't know about Project GC, they need to go.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you're new to geocaching and you haven't been to Project GC, here's the website, project-gc.com.
So I guess
go there when you have plenty of time.
Yeah. Here's what I'll ask you.
Okay.
You kind of already mentioned it, but I want to kind of sum it up a little bit. So what's your major goals right now for what's your overarching main goals?
Yes.
And what gets you out day to day? Because your overarching goals, like you mentioned before, like Jasmer, you're not doing that tomorrow.
Correct.
You may go caching tomorrow. So what gets you out day to day, but like from the top down, what's your major goal, your number one goal, and then what gets you out day to day?
Okay.
You've been caching since what, 2007 or something?
2006. I started in 2006.
That's like 40 years. So If my math is right, that's about 40 years. So,
yeah, right.
So what after all this time, overarching goal, day to day.
Yeah. So my overarching goal twofold. Now with Cache Odyssey available for us, now that we've created it, Cache Odyssey is big on my list of things I want to do. That's an overarching. Jasmer, I finished one loop, but we've got the quad loop looming in the spot in June. So I want to at least be up to where you are, hopefully where you're at, which is the triple. I mean, if I don't get 4, we've talked about this a little bit before too. Is like, that's okay. I got Sweden.
Right.
You know, I can fill in a blank somewhere.
You got the hard one.
Those are my overarching. My day to day really centers around my caching group. So
that's what I was gonna guess.
Yeah. So we recently did a trip together, and we're doing that now once a year, but we did go to Uranus, Missouri. Yes, there is a Uranus, Missouri.
Yes.
And yes, we talked about that.
They lean into it.
It's a tourist trap, but we had great fun, and we found actually a bunch of caches. Not just, I mean, I didn't know. I don't know if you knew this or not, but there are some caches in Uranus. Jesse, I don't know if you knew that or not, but there are a few.
Yes, we know.
I know.
I'm not even going to touch on that one.
But anyway, so
I'm not touching Uranus. Keep going.
On our trip, we did do. We went, and a lot of it's on Route 66. So we hit a lot of caches on Route 66. Went to the Blue Whale, and there's a cool cache at the Blue Whale. So there's ways to also cache in your travels, and that was our travel. Was surprisingly, and that helps that tourist trap, by the way, too, Jesse, is it's on Route 66. So
there you go.
Might as well use it. Might as well sell all the stuff. So what are yours, do you think?
We've kind of touched on some, and then I think there's one that we both have that we'll kind of talk about at the end. But
okay,
obviously the Jasmer, like we both talked about. But again, that's a global goal that I'm not going out this weekend to find any new ones, right? It's just not going to happen. There's only a few left anyway. On top of that, countries. That's our big goal. It kind of goes with Jasmer because we're trying to pick up countries as we can.
Yeah. Well,
we're not going to do it this weekend, but over the year, we're going to pick up several in this next year.
And you're doing that through cruises, though. So that's something else to let people know is you can kind of combine some things.
Yeah. So that's how we're getting most of ours right now, or all of the ones we're getting right now is from cruises.
Yeah.
But we're taking advantage of the fact that we live in Florida, right? We can jump on one on the weekend and go somewhere.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of Caribbean islands that you can, there's a bunch of different countries down here. So we're trying to take advantage of that while we're living in Florida. And that just happens to be one of the things we can do. Like when we lived in Colorado, we weren't picking up very many countries, right?
Sure.
But now we have the opportunity to do that.
That's
not something I'm going to do this weekend.
Yeah, not a lot of sports there.
Yeah, Colorado is landlocked by landlocked states, right? You're not hitting the ocean anytime soon. So, but if you kind of digging down from the global to the countries, the next thing after that would be counties. Now, and I'm going to say that's counties / DeLorme. So we moved to the state, and the first year we got all of our counties in the state, but we didn't get DeLorme. And Christy and I were talking just this morning, and she said it before too, but like she goes, I kind of wish we didn't get the counties so quick because we've kind of wiped that off, right? We rushed through it. So the good thing is we still have DeLorme. We can go back and it's kind of like getting to do the counties all over again because the counties don't hit all the DeLorme pages.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have to go through the state again from tip to tip for us to get all the DeLorme pages. So that one is still one for us, although unfortunately everything right around us, we still have to go a pretty good distance to get a DeLorme page.
Yeah.
But not as far as we'd have to go to get a county. So that's kind of like that. If we get the opportunity and we're out away from home, we'll pick up counties.
We've talked a little bit about DeLorme, and that's something that sadly I have missed a couple states where I found all the caches, but now I need to double back. Well, Texas is one. I've got missing DeLorme pages. It's like, but again, Do I have interest?
See, I do because I had 0 before, but it's just because of convenience for me.
Yeah.
If it's not on geocaching.com, which DeLorme is not, and then if it's not in Cachely, that's my tools.
Yeah.
So now that DeLorme is in Cachely, it's now a real thing for me.
Sure.
I didn't care about it before because I'm not going to go and buy some old magazine, or I'm not going to,
You're
use
not
all
gonna
these
get the
tools
old-
that I don't use. I like the tools that I use. So
you want to get the old you want to get the old atlas out and
No, I'm not. I'm not doing all that crap.
the giant book where you go through the dorm pages. Okay.
Yeah, but kind of like day to day now, our goals are. We have really gotten into doing lab caches. We like them because we have a new state to explore. Like today, we went out and we went to some old towns in our area, and all the basically, like we talked about before, the history caches. That's what labs are. That's the kinds we like. Like Christy will filter out the ones that she doesn't like the types of.
Yeah.
And we'll find the ones that are historic, and we'll go and do those.
Sure.
Now, we had a blast doing that today, and obviously I'm not climbing trees right now, so that worked out perfect.
Yeah.
But labs, and we've always kind of been into virtuals, so we may filter and just get labs and virtuals, and that's all we're getting right now.
Sure.
And currently, that's kind of what we've been finding.
That's good.
Now, I did get one the other day, but it was an FTF I was going for, and I didn't get it. It just happened to pop up down the street. Somebody else got it. So I got a physical cache, whatever. But and then the other one, which Christy will groan about, and she's in the room, so I'm afraid to even say it. But
Christy, it's earth caches.
Is hiding earth caches not in our state. So I try to hide those. I've hidden those in 11 states and 3 countries now. And when we go to a new state, I try to find a place to hide an earth cache.
Right.
Because you don't have to maintain it in the sense that, physical container. Yeah. But I can have caches. One day I might want to have one in every state. But as we travel, I try to hide one because you're allowed to. You're encouraged even to do that, right? Vacation caches.
Right.
Only of earth cache, not other type. So that's kind of our day-to-day is labs and virtuals. And then if I get an opportunity and I see something, I'll put an earth cache out.
Right.
But that's kind of our day-to-day. Like just going out. I do still like every once in a while just to go out and find a cache for no reason.
Sure.
But I kind of like to have something that we're kind of interested in. Because just going out for me and finding just another parking lot cache, I'll get it if I'm there, but that's not exciting me.
No. I was just
Christy's
kidding.
not interested in that. So
I was asking
if Christy cache together, right?
Yeah, I was asking if Christy was rolling her eyes at you, but that's
yeah. Anytime I see earth cache, she rolls her eyes. Yeah, she's got thumbs down and some other sign language over there. But
there she goes. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, very good.
Now, one thing I will say though that you didn't mention, and it's kind of true for both of us, but it's kind of obvious, but it's also not, is one of the things that is our day to day, like with Cache Odyssey and some other things we've done, is finding a way, like people hide caches or host events. For us, I think it's, and everybody has their own version of this, but finding a way to give back to the game. Right? We host the podcast to spread information, to help kind of people understand stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're sure not doing it to make money, right? So, because I hadn't got my first paycheck yet, but this and or do help support movies or that are coming out, or help get events started, or Cache Odyssey, or raise money for St. Jude, or all these other things. That's probably one of the things that we kind of don't think about, but everybody has their way of doing that, right? Whether it's CNOs or whatever else. I think that's a goal that people don't really think about necessarily, but giving back to the game is a pretty big goal. And ours is coming. I think you said edutainment is what you classified it as or whatever.
That's
I
us.
think that's kind of our thing, right? Edutainment.
Yeah. Edutainment.
You've written several books, you've added games and stuff like that, card games. And
sure.
And I think, and just so everybody's aware, none of us are retiring off anything we produce in the geocaching world.
No.
we may get paid back for the effort that we put in, right? Maybe. It may cover the cost of doing it, but that's not the point. We're not trying to be publishers, and we'll talk about it in the future, but I got a book that I'm working on finishing right now that I think will help people. It's entertainment, obviously, but it's educational, and it'll help raise the game. And I think one of the things we've always tried to do, which sounds kind of cheesy, but there's no other reason to say it that way, but we've always tried to elevate the people that we have the reach on, elevate the game.
Absolutely.
Do more, not more in the sense of go find more caches all the time, but increase the quality, increase your enjoyment of it, deepen your knowledge of the game, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not everybody cares about that in the specific way we're doing it, but I think people overlook the fact that they're doing things. There's 50 people I know right now that have added a bunch to the game. That's the Cache Odyssey hiders. They've added tons to the game, right? There's people that reach out, like somebody else mentioned, and mentor somebody new. That's your way of giving back to the game. I would suggest, now everybody can do whatever they want to do. You can be as selfish or giving as you want to be, but set one of your goals into improving the game somehow.
Sure.
And that could be anything, right? That could be mentoring somebody. That could be helping somebody figure out how to hide a cache. That could be hosting a CETO event, clean up your area. But if you're looking for a new goal and nothing's really exciting you right now, think about how you can give back to the game that we love. Coins for kids. Absolutely. That's an awesome one. There's so many ways that we can think of people have given back to the game. You don't have to do something grandiose. It doesn't have to be, I promise you, I wouldn't suggest starting off with doing a nationwide geo tour. That's not a good way to start off.
No,
right?
that's a little bit adventurous.
We were able to do that because we have a network of great people, right? But that's not for everybody.
Exactly.
Even if your only thing is when next mega you go to, sign up and volunteer. That'll make that event better for more people.
Thanks, Bird Turtles. He said,
thank you. We love to hear that.
Inspired by you guys on multiple occasions.
Go out and inspire somebody.
Thank you,
Do
my
it,
friend.
man.
Absolutely.
Add something to the game. I know if you've been in the game like 40 years like Gary has, you have to have gotten something out of it.
Yeah.
So try to add something back. And that's kind of like that. It's a cheesy version of it, like that caching karma, which we can talk about that when we do Project GC or whatever. But I don't really care about that stat. But
I don't either.
I think, as I'll never be able to give enough back to the game as we've gotten out of it over the years, because we've been in it since 11, and my daughters have literally grown up with it. Now, my youngest, like you mentioned, everybody knows, she just went off to college.
Yep.
She's kind of like, she'll cache with me anytime I ask. And she kind of keeps up with what state she's cashed in, but she's not big into caching, but she's an 18-year-old college student, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other one, she's finishing law school. She's married. She's asking questions again because her and her husband are getting into caching again.
She's kind of getting back into it.
Yes. Like, how can you beat that as a dad when your daughters are asking, hey, remember that hobby we used to do? Like, how do we get back into that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Drop whatever I've got, whatever you need, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think I can put a price on the value that the game has given our family. So what little bit we can push back out there and help other people.
Sure.
I think that's awesome. And I would suggest everybody, if you're burnt out, add that to your goal. You'll get a lot more out of it than you ever, put into it for sure.
Very true. Well, we're at an end for tonight. I do want to mention on July 8th, there is a Challenge Talk episode. So
definitely watch
looking
that.
forward to
you might get your brand new goal inspiration for that show.
Definitely check that out. So, all right. Well, we're done. Thanks, Jesse. That was good. The list will be up soon again on the website, on geocachetalk.com /show notes or show-notes. I think it comes up. So
show-notes.
Right. Yeah. Something like that.
And I would encourage, like we always do, send us if we haven't mentioned it, it's not in the show notes, but you have something that may be crazy, maybe not. If you have something that's your focus right now, send it in. We can share it with other people. Yeah. And somebody may go, oh my God, that's the best thing ever. I want to do that now. I want to find the most trackables in my state, or I want to all I care about is moving trackables or rescuing them or finding whatever weird thing that is out there. I mean, there's got to be some weird stuff out there, right? Like
absolutely.
Whatever it is, it only seems weird unless you're into it.
Yep. geocachetalk@gmail.com.
Yep.
Send it to us, and we read everything, and we comment some of the time, and we'll respond some of the time. No, we want you to all no, definitely send your input, and we share it. We share it with each other.
Absolutely. We generally a lot of times we make it into a show.
We do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did the last week about being a lackey. That came from Burnt Turtles.
Yeah, so. That was fun.
Yeah, that was good. So those come out. So, all right. Well, that's it. Have a good week, everyone. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
finds be many, and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.